Hi people, Daniel from Devil & Sons Guitars here, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to the first ever episode of Luthier's Lunch Break. So welcome, this is something I've wanted to do for ages, and thanks to the generosity of my contributors, it's finally here. Luthier's Lunch Break is essentially a magazine show. It's going to be about 45 minutes long each episode, made up of sections of about 3 minutes long. Each section is from a different contributor with a focus on some element of guitar building. Contributors include luthiers, guitar builders, guitar enthusiasts, guitar players. Some contributors might be in it almost every episode. Some contributors, for example, have a series that's spread out over 5 or 6 episodes. Some will just appear sporadically and some may just be here as a one-off. The aim is to inspire people to either want to make their own guitar, try out a new technique or process, maybe will help a player who's got no interest in building a guitar understand a bit more about their instrument and how it works. We want to build a community that's supportive for everyone. You can join in with the comments below, the live chat during the premiere, and maybe you'll even want to take part yourself. I'm always open to more contributors. The most important thing is, if you see something here you're really interested in, of course leave a comment under the video, but go and follow that contributor. I've put links to their social medias in the description of the videos. They may well see the comment below, but they'll definitely see it if you leave it on their page, and do say hi from me. Anyway, let's get on with the show. There's no particular structure that I've aimed for, but we're going to start with a few people talking about design. We've got Lars, Grape and Cade from Ravencroft Guitars.
Hello guys, my name is Lars, and today we're gonna see how to go from a sketch to a full-scale drawing for a guitar. In this video we are gonna cover the sketch. First thing, you will need a sketchbook. Here is mine. It's something that I use all the time for putting my idea into paper. Here are design for idea that I did over the course of this year and idea that I still have to explore a little bit, but today we're gonna start with a fresh new drawing. First of all, as you can see, I have all these little prints of guitars. Some of these are very well established guitar. I have a Tele, a Strat, Les Paul, and other are for guitar that I already did in the past, so I have the complete project. Now I have this not for copying but for sketching process, because I want to have a proportional and reliable sketch. Here I'm going to put this underneath the paper and I trace the fingerboard, the placement of the bridge, the position of key and a little bit of the headstock. And I give myself a couple of lines, like the end of the body and a little bit of the side, just to guide during the sketching process. When I started this, I didn't have any idea on what I was going for, so I just try. A good tip that I can give you from creating your own design is take inspiration from Instagram, Pinterest, and don't try to copy an entire design. Take the thing from different guitars that draw your attention. Can be the dimension, the shape of the lower horn or the upper horn, and then try to combine it. I spent some time here, roughly half an hour, and at the end I came out with something that resembled a Telecaster with an offset design and the shape of the lower horn from other guitar that I made. I put in more detail, like bevel. I thought about going for a pickguard, but I didn't like it, so I erased it, and I'm working on both the front and a little bit of the back. Now I like this design immediately, but I want to have a second option. This is something that I usually do. In this case I like most of the guitar, but I have my doubt on one point, and I wanted to see what it would look like if it was a little bit rounder. And I work on it a little bit more, even on the back, and I came out with a couple of designs that I kinda like. I think that this can be a good guitar. And the second tip of this video is, when you have a couple of designs, close the sketchbook and don't look at the sketch. After you wait for a couple of days or even a week, look at this again with a fresh new mindset, and you will actually see if you like the design or not. This worked out for me a lot of times, so I will say try it. And with this I have a couple of sketches that I'm actually really happy with, so I will see you in the next video, because we're gonna take one of the two and make it into a plan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Cade here from Ravencroft Guitars, and yeah, welcome to Luthier's Lunchtime. I was asked to be a part of this by Dan from Devil and Sons Guitars, and he wanted me to discuss my build for GGBO last year. If you haven't checked it out, it was a special build for a young man who has cerebral palsy. And we had to do a guitar that was accessible for him so that he was able to play it. We're going to talk about some of the features that I had included in that and some thoughts that I had about accessibility moving forward with my guitar building and considerations that you can possibly make for your guitars in the future. So what I have here is the template that I used when making the body. So with his cerebral palsy, with him in particular, he is wheelchair bound. So we had to make a guitar that would fit inside the arms of his wheelchair. And I think one of the most important things to remember when you're thinking about accessibility in guitars is the fact that not everybody's disability or accessibility needs are going to be the same as anybody else's. Because Brendan has cerebral palsy doesn't mean that his needs are going to be the same as everybody else that has cerebral palsy. So it's not just as easy as making a cerebral palsy guitar. It's the fact that you have to make a guitar that is suited to the needs of that individual. So with this cutaway, this allowed for him to be able to sit in his wheelchair and have it still be confined to his lap and not run into the arms of his wheelchair where a normal guitar would run into it, sitting normally. So we had to work on this kind of lab-based system that also allowed him to kind of have it sit in a way that was stable and wasn't going to flop around on him because he doesn't have a lot of upper body strength and he can't position his legs to fit something and to adjust for the weight of the guitar. It had to be something that would sit stable and basically without using your arms wouldn't move. So yeah, so that was our first major consideration, was the body shape, and I think that's something that we can think about a lot of for future builds, whether someone is wheelchair bound or if someone is missing a leg and they aren't able to stabilize it on this part of their body. How else can we position the guitar just by the nature of the body shape to make it accessible for anybody to play or for the particular individual to play? It's also important to make sure that we aren't making something that is so specialized that it no longer appears to be a guitar. We want to be able to make something that this person is able to play, but also still gives them a sense of normality with their instrument. They're not playing something that's so specialized and so tweaked that it becomes an instrument that isn't a guitar anymore. This is very specialized, but it's still recognizable as a guitar. Picture a neck on it. So it still gives Brendan the sense of being a guitar player and not someone who is playing something that is so specialized that only he can play it and he's the only person in the world. He still is able to play a guitar and be a guitar player and see himself as his guitar hero, role models. So I think that's kind of the first thing that I want people to think about is with your guitar building, how are you catering the body to the person's needs while still allowing them to be the guitar player that they want to see themselves as? So, something to think about. In the next episode, we'll talk about some more features that you can look into incorporating into your future builds.
Anything can be a guitar. Mailbox! Pickaxe! Parts from a broken chair taken on bulk trash day. 2x4 and zip ties. Boat oar. 2x4. Cigar box. Copper pipes. Shovel. Plastic from a Mountain Dew bottle. Several hundred matchsticks. It's a little too fragile to play. Sorry. Exit sign? My past videos, I've encouraged you to greatly modify your guitars and use unconventional things to build guitars, such as a mailbox, and even search through history to rediscover instruments that were long lost. But every instrument and every concept all boils down to one thing: curiosity. Just because some manufacturer doesn't make the instrument for the sound you hear in your head, doesn't mean you can't find it yourself. Stop making excuses and go make something. My name's Shane Speal, and you have the capability of making incredible things.
Now, although most content is brand new, made especially for the show, some contributors didn't quite have the time to make new stuff at the moment, so they've provided some things you may have seen before on their social media, like Shane Speal just there. I love Shane Speal. Go and check him out. In the next few episodes, he's going to be looking at some really interesting instruments. For the next section, we're going to look a bit more about technique, processes, and some tips on some DIY things that you can do to save money. We've got Ben from Lighthouse Instruments, Stiina from Grape Guitars, Eric from Bengert Guitars, and of course, Bo Hannum.
Hello there, I'm Benjamin McGinty, the owner and luthier behind Lighthouse Instruments up here in Glasgow. Mainly a very small scale instrument company, primarily making electrics. This is my main model, my Beacon, which is a solid body single cut, but I got a double cut taking a lot of inspiration from classic S-style instruments, coming out in October as well. And I take a lot of pride in doing most of the work for processing this timber by hand. I use hand planes to actually thickness everything that I need to do with. For traditional jointing, I use gouges, scrapers, and small convex soul planes for all my carving, such as the tops here or my belly carves, as you can see there. But I also like to do set necks and scarf joints as well to show another element of carpentry. But also for me, it's a way that I can make some timber go a bit further and sort of really dial in that resonance. Now, I thought for this Luthier's lunch break, I would show how I get my volutes for my headstocks. So like I said, I do a scarf joint to get my break angle, but I like to leave a little bit of meat on there for my volute to give a little bit more stability and strength below the nut. And I tend to usually do it always by scrapers and carving knives to really feel how the wood's going to respond. So I hope it's helpful. So before I even start carving my volute, I'll have the neck roughed and I'll have the backside of the headstock marked with my Aeroply templates for my volute itself. This allows me to replicate this on each neck that I do. Now the volute is the pointy part where my left thumb is there. It's the backside of the nut and it adds a lot more structural stability and strength to the break angle of the headstock itself. I'll sort of sand and carve out the rear side of the headstock, and then once the neck's blended, this is how I approach my volute carve. The knife I'm using is a pad saw handle with a knife blank that I've smoothed over to prevent chatter along sort of more figured grain, and the extra length of the pad saw allows me to get a lot more leverage and control and stability of my strokes to give me a very precise profile that I actually want to make. Now, these scrapers that I'm using just now to then sort of dial in the geometry a bit more after roughing it out with a carving knife are actually made from old Japanese saw blades that have either chipped or bent or been damaged in some way, and it allows me to reuse materials that I've been using in the workshop and give them another lease of life for a very specific purpose. So I'll snip them out with certain geometries in mind to match certain curves and profiles that I need, and then scrape away like this, using my fingers to be able to make sure that the blend going from my neck to the volute is as smooth as transition as possible, as that's what a player's going to feel coming up to this section of the neck. It's how I've always approached them, and if I'm testing out other necks or picking up another personal guitar, it's something that I do look out for. The razor blade here is just incredibly flexible, so taking off wisps and dust is great, especially going over that really figured ash. Now, once you've actually got your volute profile nearly finalized, your neck will be roughly at the same stage. So at this point, I'll clamp it to the desk as you see, and I'll use a scraper to go along from the heel to the volute blend itself and sort of finalize how the blend will be with the full neck in mind. It allows you to get a profile gauged and see how the whole neck fits together as a whole, rather than volute, neck, heel. For me, this has been a fantastic way to do it, as it does allow you to feel what the whole ecosystem of the guitar will feel like at the very end. As you can see here, I'm using a very flexible, longer scraper. It allows me to take off wisps, but also not flattening out much of the neck at all. It allows me to take off very, very fine strokes of wood, and I found it works wonders each time for finalizing your neck profile.
Come with me to the dollar store to buy ingredients to make iron acetate. First, you're going to need steel wool. And the packages were 99 cents a package. Awesome. In the cart they go. Next up is distilled white vinegar. Once again, 99 cents. Pretty nice. Into the cart. Now we need a glass container, so we go over to the housewares department. And I find a mason jar that's nice and large. Oh, I need one that actually has a top. Here we go. $1.99. Into the cart it goes. So I'm checking out. Obviously I got other things too. So now back home. Oops.
Oops.
Don't do that. Okay, fill up your jar with your vinegar. And you want to leave a little bit of room on the top. And then you'll want to heat your vinegar up because it'll make the chemical reaction happen faster. Don't mind my messy microwave. So I just heat it up as beverage and wait for it to be done. And now it's going to be hot, so use something that is going to keep you from burning your fingers. Now I brought it outside and started sticking the steel wool down into the vinegar. Now you don't want to put the lid on it. That's a big no-no because the chemical reaction that's happening, if you can see those bubbles, that's hydrogen gas. And you do not want to create a situation that's going to make your stuff explode. So I just covered it with a towel. This is the next day. And you can still see that there's some bubbles happening, but usually about 12 hours is all you need if you've heated the vinegar. And I'm going to be trying this on a piece of scrap black walnut. And so you can use a rag, you can use a paintbrush, and you see it's not really going on that dark to begin with, but that's when the magic happens. And wait for it. You can start to see it turn a little bit, but 5 minutes later it's still wet and it is really dark.
Hey kids, let's get started on a new project. But before we do that, let's get started on making sure that when we get to finishing the project, we can hang the guitar to be able to paint it, clear it. So what we have here, and I know it doesn't look like much, it looks like a bunch of garbage. There's other people that have fancy setups, but you can do this at home and you can do it easy and for the cheap. So you get a piece of wood that is about the size of your neck pocket. Okay? And then you mount it to a dowel. Now that dowel doesn't have to be wood, it can be metal, it can be a metal pipe, just so as long as it doesn't bend. So we've got
of dowel rod, and it's drilled. I drilled a hole to accept the dowel, and then I ran a bolt through it and put a screw in there, and then, you know, put a nut on it as well. Now this one, oops, gravity. Now this one, what I did with this, similar, but I taped it up. It is screwed, and it is same thing, neck pocket. This is for different size neck pockets. Now, like I said, this is on the cheap, so this isn't for something that you're trying to impress anybody with. So now what you do once you have these made, and they will accept into the receptacle that I'll show you here in a second. So then you can pivot, turn, swing, and all that good stuff when you're painting. All right, now you get to see how dirty my shop is. So what we have here is a T-fitting, and the T-fitting is just a standard galvanized T-pipe fitting. And let's see, I guess you can buy whatever size that you need for the dowel you have. This one is going to be about an inch internal, about an inch internal. So you can do whatever height you want. And like I said, this is rather cheap. I got a base, got a piece of galvanized pipe, then I've got a T. All right, here you go. You get the T, and you get your piece of wood that is the inner diameter of the pipe, and you slide it in however you want. And what this gives you is a place to be able to mount your guitar to on the neck pocket. So you can swing it, you can turn it, you can do all sorts of stuff, so it makes it so much easier. Then you can change out to a different one, and you can grab this end and turn it. That way you don't get paint on yourself. And like I said, you can turn it, spin it. But yeah, Eric with Mangled Guitars, definitely doing it on the cheap for this one. But anyways, hey, if it's about saving money, nothing wrong with that. If it works, it's not a fashion show. Get at it.
The Guitar Builders Collective is a group of like-minded people from all around the world at different stages of their guitar building journey. You can join us over on our forum to seek advice or share tips on guitar building processes, materials and tools, or just to share your builds. On YouTube, we have a regular podcast of guitar building chat where you can join the live stream or watch back on past episodes. Our Instagram page shares posts of members' builds and links you direct to their accounts. And for those of you on Facebook, we've got a private group that you can join, share and chat along with. The Guitar Builders Collective is a welcome and open space for all, so do pop by and say hi. So I thought it'd be a great idea to have in the show a section where a guitar player talks about how the design of the instrument affects the way they play. Maybe they play different styles of music on different guitars, or maybe there's something about a design that they really need to help them play their style of music. My thinking is the more we hear from different guitar players, the more ideas we as designers and makers might have about what they're looking for in a guitar, as opposed to the things we're looking at when we make it. Of course, a lot of you will work directly with your clients when you're designing it, but I always find it interesting to hear what different guitarists like, and also the fact that just because you're an amazing guitar player doesn't mean you know a lot about how the guitar's made or how it's designed or certain functionality within it. Anyway, to kick us off, as my first guinea pig, I asked Carl Golden. I'm so glad he was up for doing it because obviously this is an unknown. Carl is an absolutely amazing player. I met him at the British Boutique Guitar Festival a few years ago. I had seen some of his YouTube stuff, but as he mentions, he now focuses more on the teaching element of guitar. And as with all the other contributors, I've left links in the description of this video to where you can find out more about Carl, his teaching and his books.
Okay, so my name is Carl Golden. I am a passionate guitar player, probably known for my YouTube channel, which I haven't really done for a few years, but I used to make lots of covers of my favourite bands and did 100 guitar riffs in medleys and things. But in recent years, I've become more of an author. I love writing educational guitar, bass and ukulele books, and just sharing the knowledge that I discover through this beautiful instrument. So let's go through my favourite 3 guitars at the moment, because it's interesting they have some things in common. So 2 of the ones that I go to at the moment are my Music Man Cutlass. This is a BFR model. And my Shergold Masquerader. As you can see, a lot of wear on this one. And of course, what they have in common is they are Strat looking bodies. This cutlass has a 10-inch radius neck, which I absolutely love, but this actually has a 12-inch radius, so different in that aspect. I think they both have rosewood fingerboards. This is much lighter than the Shergold. I'm not great with all the technicalities, but I kind of know what I like in a guitar. So we've got the 5-way switches. There's good access to the neck, 22 frets. If these guitars had 24, would be much better because I'm a bit of a shredder myself. We've got lock-in tuners. That is a given for any guitar that I play. Another difference, obviously, this doesn't have a trem. I do like having a tremolo. I can't really get on with, what is it, the Floyd Rose kind of trem systems. It's just too much. I think with lock-in tuners, it's enough. I can't deal with all the unlocking stuff and bits and bobs. So what makes me pick up a guitar? It has to look beautiful. Both these guitars look beautiful. I think they've got kind of glossy finishes. I do love having some kind of pick guard. But recently I've actually fallen in love with this Harley Benton guitar. It's only a cheap thing. I think it's got a 10-inch radius as well. Roasted maple fingerboard and some kind of gold finish. But the Wilkinson tremolo system is absolutely awesome. It's great to have the old push and pull to switch between the humbuckers and single coil. But I suppose the theme is I do love single coil pickups. I think you get more dynamics, and I love that classic sound. I love the idea that you have to work to get your tone, and I am a firm believer that, I know we're talking about different guitars and things, but it's all in your fingers. If you're a great player, you can make any guitar sound good. But it does help that you have a guitar that you love to play, and I assume that's what we're talking about. Yeah, personally, as long as you have high access to the upper frets, you've got good hardware quality, lock-in tuners. I like a trem system. The Wilkinson ones are awesome. Quite lightweight, although the Shergold that I have, which I love, has some weight to it. The only negatives about this guitar, I would say that it's quite heavy and it's hard to see the markers here if you're gigging and things, but I do love this guitar. That's why it's played so much. It's funny, it feels comfortable on the body, it's well contoured. I enjoy classic looking guitars with some high quality hardware. But then again, talking about loving the classic guitars, I also recently bought an Abasi Concepts 8-string guitar, which I absolutely love. It's got obviously a much bigger radius of a neck. I think that is 16 to 21 inch compound radius. And that has a roasted maple neck. I do think that looks beautiful on camera, but I do love a roasted, I do love a rosewood neck.
Now my hope is that people watching Luthiers Lunch Break are like the contributors from a range of backgrounds all over the world, range of experiences. It'll be great if you could let me know in the comments, what brought you here? Where are you from? What's your interest? Whilst there may be some very experienced players and builders here, there might be people completely new to it. And now we've got John here from Blue Tone Music with the first in his series, in which he explains to us some of those things that we just maybe don't really understand about how a guitar works. I know a lot of my clients ask for certain things with their wiring. They know they like the sound, but they don't really know how that sound is made or why it's different. So, over to you, John.
Hi there, my name is John Hicks, and I want to demonstrate to you what a coil split is on a humbucker guitar. Okay, well let me start with a guitar that doesn't have a coil split, and I'm going to show you my wonderful Fender 1972 reissue thin line guitar. So this has two wide range humbuckers on it, the Fender ones, and the controls I have are easy. I've got my neck pickup, I've got my mixture of the two, with a jangle there, and then I have my bridge pickup. So you can kind of hear those different tones. But what if I wanted more out of these tones? What if I wanted to take a humbucker and maybe try and bring in some single coil tones? Well, on this guitar I can't do this, but I can on this guitar, which is a PRS SE Starler. This guitar itself is about 500 quid. And to be quite honest with you, I'm so impressed because it does have the ability to give me more tones than say what my Fender Telecaster does. Let me show you. So let me start by giving you the standard tones, if I may, which are as such. So that is the neck pickup. That is the neck and bridge pickup. And that's the bridge pickup. So we've got those tones, but what I can do with this is that I can take my tone pot, which is there, I can pull that up, and what that will do is it will turn each of these humbuckers into single coils. And so with that I get these different tones. Here's the neck, middle, the bridge. So what we're getting there is what for me sounds like quite a striking change in tones from having the humbuckers working in their full capacity either together or individually, or split down to single coils. And so what it gives me is perhaps more of a Stratty Telecaster kind of tones from time to time, which I can use, and to be honest, most of the time I would use this guitar in the middle position with the coil split on. So I'm using two single coils together. So a coil split gives some extra tones to your guitar, which is really useful if you want to play around in a gig or if you want to take one guitar into a recording session. I hope you found this useful. My name is John Hicks and I've just explained what a coil split does on a guitar.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott, I'm the person behind SPH Guitars and I am honoured to be part of the Luthiers lunch break. When I got invited to this series I was kind of like, what am I going to talk about, because I'm still new to this whole thing. And then I realised that my journey into the world of lutherie, the way that I started, could hopefully encourage more and more people to do it. Because I mean, I started with no formal training, no woodworking or power tool skills or actual power tools. I think I had the cheapest set of screwdrivers you could get hold of at the time. I had no dedicated workshop, and now I have entered the Grape guitar build off the second year running, and I'm building guitar bodies from scratch. So the way I started, I just had two guitars on the wall in my one bedroom flat that desperately needed cleaning. Now what guitars were they? Well, I'll start with the one that started it all. This is the first guitar I ever bought outright myself, my lovely Epiphone Explorer Gothic. There was just something about this guitar when I saw it in the shop, I just had to have it. So when I saw how disgusting it was, covered in dust, grime, sweat, nicotine, it needed sorting, but I'm from a small town, so I don't have any local repair shops, so trying to get it done outside of the town that I'm in would cost me a lot of money just in general for travel, not even including the cost of the repair. So I thought, can I do this myself? A lot of YouTube video searching, a lot of researching online, and I got all the stuff together to be able to do it myself. But because of how bad it was, I literally had to just completely gut it. It was just, nothing in it at all to be able to get it all clean. So while I was there, I realised that I have a set of C model and blackouts, chilling doing nothing for about 2 years at this point. And I looked at the guitar and thought, yeah, why not, let's get those installed. Problem I have is though, soldering does not come naturally to me. I look at a wiring diagram and it just goes straight over my head. So that was the biggest challenge I had to overcome, just figuring out how to do that. But that is all I have time for on this episode of Luthiers Lunch Break. Please join me in my next appearance by subscribing to the Devil and Sons YouTube channel, where I will be talking about how I overcome this challenge and got this guitar to where it is today.
Hiya, welcome to the video. This is a special video I'm doing for Devil and Sons. He's doing a lunch break hour where he wants Luthiers to contribute like a 2 or 3 minute video so he can show his audience what all the community guitar building collective is all about and stuff like that. So welcome to this workshop. This is where I volunteer once a week in Atherstone. It's like a men's shed, and we try to raise money for the charity itself by building guitars or whatever to raise money for the charity. You'll get to see the food bank that we have here. There's a kitchen, we've got an allotment, we've had computer skills training here in the past. We're trying to get like dementia, the class going, like with the music. I'm currently building a cigar box guitar. I've made this box. It's technically not a cigar box, and that's coming along nicely. So today I've just planed this flat Because my planes at home were struggling to plane this. Yeah, my planes were struggling to plane this because it's a really dense wood. It's Cocobolo, something like that. But yeah, that's what we're all about. And I want to open my own shop one day, like this. Like a little youth centre. I want to be teaching kids how to build guitars. I'd love to employ counsellors and stuff like that to help people with emotional health. Because I've had problems in my life. That's why I named Afterlife Guitars, because I believe in second chances for people. And so that's what Afterlife symbolises. Like, I almost called it Phoenix, but I didn't. You know, like raising from the ashes and stuff. So yeah, give you a little tour and then that's it, I think. So I've got a bandsaw over here. Currently changing the blade because the last one snapped, but we've got a contact tough saw because we need a custom size. They only do certain sizes, but they do custom ones as well. We've got a lathe over there that we've not set up properly yet. A workbench here. We're going to change that for a proper workbench with vices on it. Some shelves. It's work in progress. What's it called? A surface planer over there. A thickness planer. We've got the extraction. We've got a scroll saw. And there's a sander somewhere. Yeah, it's over there. So I think that's it. Thanks for letting me do this, Daniel. And hope to see you guys again soon. Peace. Right then. So this is the community fridge section. Welcome to the community fridge. Take what you need, donate what you can. This is Mo. Hello. This is Mo, the star of the show with the food fridge, donating to the communities. Thank you for all your hard work. And your son. This is Diane. Hello. She's a very friendly face. Gives you a cup of tea whenever you want, or some toast. Oh, I haven't got your face in. And these are just other members. I'm just doing a video for my YouTube. So yeah, say hello to everyone. Bye. Bye.
Fantastic. So thanks again for watching. I thought having Scott from SBH Guitars and Ryan from Afterlife Guitars here at the end was a great way to finish. Like I said at the beginning, one of the purposes of this series is to help build a community where we can interact with each other, inspire each other, support each other. And hearing Scott's story over the next few episodes is going to be fantastic. And learning about what Ryan does using guitar building to bring people together is just fantastic. So don't forget, in the description below are links to all the contributors from today's show. Also a link to a playlist of the other episodes. We've got the second one coming out in 2 weeks' time with slightly different contributors in it. And there's also a link to that Guitar Builders Collective podcast that I'm part of. That's a fantastic weekly live show. If you're around to join us every Thursday, that'd be great. But you can also watch it after the effect. At the time of this going out, there's 12 episodes to catch up on. And if this has inspired you to potentially make contact, please get in touch. The more the merrier. So until next time, happy strumming.